What's happening? What you need up in here? And I just wanted to talk a little bit about Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. I think it's a very well promoted fight for something that just put together pretty. I like how Mike Tyson kind of got us interested in his opponent that he was going to face. And I never really realized that Roy Jones Jr. was going to be that opponent, but it is what it is. So he is the opponent, and it's one of those things where you're watching the progress of these fighters, the preparation of Mike Tyson, how he's getting better and better and looking better and better. The stem cell therapy that he took, and then Roy Jones Jr. You're seeing him training fighters and so on. See him sitting on a throne, seeing his name in the background, not realizing that Roy is actually, he kind of has a heads up about that in the background. So when he's talking about, calling out his name and, these big guys wanted to bully a little guy, we didn't realize that there was something going on in the background with him and Mike Tyson. This is really cool. Don't forget to smash that like button. You guys can comment in the chat area if you so wish. I think it's a brilliant promotion. A lot of people are concerned about Roy's health or Tyson's health. I'm not concerned at all about either guy's health. And I know Roy has been knocked out by professional fighters, but they usually have a certain tier, a certain height of professional fighter. And was that cruiserweight? This is going to be a heavyweight fight. It's going to be real, though. It's going to be real. It's an exhibition, but it's going to be real. Okay, they're going to go at it. From what Mike Tyson said, is California state rules. So they're going to have to wear headgear. It's going to be like kind of like Julio Cesar Chavez versus Jorge Arce. They're going to go at it. They're going to go at it, and they're going to go at it for real. 51-year-old and 54-year-old. 51 is not what it used to be. Once upon a time, if you were 50-something years old, you were really old. You weren't even thinking about boxing, right? But these guys, they're not taking as good care of their bodies as people make it out to be. But we have all these new therapies. And some of these guys just have the will to fight. They have the will to fight. Roy is one of those guys. He's a real, true, genuine fighter. He loves to fight. He loves being in the ring. He loves competition. And so it is what it is, Now, I know Roy is susceptible to certain punches and he can get knocked the fuck out. But if he can keep range and distance and he can carry that fight some distance with Mike Tyson, we're going to see what Mike Tyson got left in his tank. It's going to be an 8-rounder, which is, again, good. Mike Tyson is training probably for 8 rounds. He hasn't been hit by anybody yet, so I don't know if he's doing sparring or what. But Roy has a chance of winning that fight. A lot of people think that Roy don't have no chance. He's been knocked out. Listen, Roy was knocked out by a professional fighter who's been fighting continuously, okay? So it's not the same. Mike Tyson hasn't fought in years, okay? He's going to have to get the feel of the rhythm in that ring. It's a totally different boxer. Roy got a lot of skill sets. Roy doesn't have to move all the way around the ring like people are making it out to be. Roy just has to use the skill sets that he has, the rhythm, the timing, which he'll still have, okay? And Roy has a lot of tools, and he also has offensive tools that people are not really, they're overlooking those offensive tools. And when he hits Mike Tyson's going to feel it. Okay, because when you haven't been hit in a long time, you actually feel those punches more than if you've been in the ring constantly being hit and constantly being, training and all of that and being hit, absorbing the punishment. Even punches that you block, you feel them. So Mike looks great, and they hyping up Mike a lot because Roy's been there, done that, and he's training fighters all the time. Now, Mike is training fighters as well. I see him giving little tips and stuff, and that's great. So that's why I said this fight is not what people think it is. And they're professional fighters. They know how to keep their defense, at a professional level to a certain degree, especially now. They're going to be smarter. They're going to definitely be smarter fighters than they've ever been. And that's the one thing that, a lot of people do not factor in when we talk about age. A lot of times people don't understand age is not the problem. It's the incapability of the fighter to do what they want to do. You hear Oscar De La Hoya say, man, I want to do it, but I can't pull the trigger. It's because now I was just looking at chiropractors and how they actually can ease off the tension from different parts of your body. And I would suggest to both Roy, well, Roy does it already. He's with Dr. Bew Hightower. So he's going to be fine. The guy that's not going to be fine, maybe he's Mike Tyson. He might be too tight. He should go get some business done on the chiropractic, because what happens is when you're loose, you spend less energy, you use less energy than when you're tight. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, with Roy, um, you know, Roy and Mike Tyson, these guys, they haven't been in action for a while too, so that's good. They're fresh. Roy hasn't fought in like 2 years, big fights or anything. He hasn't taken any damage, so he should be fine. And he's Captain Hook. So if Tyson just thinks he's just gonna walk in there, he might get left hook. And Roy is a cat-like kind of animal like Mike Tyson, so it's gonna be a good fight. I don't expect Roy to back down. I actually expect Roy to fight Tyson sometimes in the pocket, but in a different kind of way. I don't know if Roy developed his infighting skills yet, because if he doesn't, he gonna get knocked the fuck out. But he needs to have a certain degree of infighting skills, Roy, so that when Mike Tyson gets him on the inside, he don't right hook him and knock him out, because you set him up with a jab right hook, and that's it. Roy goes to sleep. So Roy's gonna have to keep range. You're gonna have to steal punches from the outside, use his pivot work, use his footwork, but not run around the ring. He doesn't have to run away from Tyson. You run away from Tyson, that's perfect. That's what Tyson wants. He wants you to run away from him. You got to stand there with him, but you got to be elusive as well when he's throwing his punches, his double left hooks, his triple left hooks. His bobbing and weaving. You got to change levels with him. If you bob and weave, if you drop levels with him, and Roy can do that. He can change levels and get low. There's really nothing Tyson can do. All his shots are gonna go over you, and he can't really connect to your body, because guess what? What's the problem? You gotta get close enough to connect to the body. One, and two, if you're leaning in on a guy, he can get to your head, but he can't get to your body. And then if you're using virtual distance and you're not pulling back all the time, and you're using pivot work, there's really nothing the guy can do to get to your body, right? He can get to your head. But then again, if you're moving that head, if you changing head slots all the time, bobbing, swiveling that head, he really can't do nothing. So defense is a thing that if you understand defense, it's very rare, and that's why I'm taking so long to even try to do a professional fight. I'm trying to get my defense in order, get my footwork in order, get my body coordination in order, because I don't want to go in there and get hurt at this age. You don't want that to happen. You want to go in there and you want to last, right? So the most important thing, if you're an older fighter, now Roy, he doesn't have the greatest defense in the world. His defense is distance control, right? Tyson, bob and weave, getting low, that's his defense, okay? He don't really block shots that much. He uses the peekaboo defense. That's his thing. But that's what makes the fighting interesting. It might end in a KO. Who knows? That's what makes these fights interesting. So we're gonna watch and see two different styles in the ring. Them guys gonna go at it hard, but they got headgear. Thank God. Headgear is gonna help the situation a bit. But other than that, let it rip, baby. I'm interested. I'm roped in instantaneously. I wish they would have more of these entertaining fights. Floyd started doing exhibition fights, and a lot of people decided, you know what, hell with it, man. I'm gonna have an exhibition fight too. Mike Tyson's definitely, that's gonna generate a lot of money for Mike Tyson today. If it's for charity, they're gonna make a lot of money, because that's the way how you capture the public's interest. And I'm glad that these guys are starting to think out of the box. Mike Tyson with his marijuana farms and stuff, and this is what we need. If the older guys stop complaining about the younger guys and talking bad about them, and show them what you could do in the ring, and then go back and train these younger guys so they could be exciting like you were, because the younger guys right now, what we have in boxing right now is kind of like a voidish kind of void. We don't know who really is the top tier guy. We don't know who the face of boxing is. It was Canelo for a minute, and then it kind of just got all blurred. Got a lot of exciting fights now, but what the older heads are doing is they're generating that excitement so that we can keep on watching boxing, because right now with the COVID-19 kind of shut everything down. So I'm happy that Roy's doing this. I'm happy that Tyson is doing it. And Roy always wanted to face Tyson. So great. This is just perfect, And then Holyfield's training, Oscar De La Hoya is talking about fighting a professional fight. I don't know about that one, Oscar. Oscar, don't come back straight into the pros. Keep training. Train for 2 years. Layla Ali's training like a beast. It looks like she want to jump in there with Clarissa Shields. She's going to need 2-3 tune-up fights. Don't just jump right into it. So once they jump in, they get their tune-up fights. We see, okay, they look good, like Oscar. If he's going to do a comeback, which I think Oscar's close to 50, if he ain't 50 yet, I'm not mad at it because I'm going to do my professional fights, not at that level. And I'm coming back when I'm going to be out there when I'm 40 something years old. And let me tell you something. Sergio Martinez is coming back, and I'll take him seriously as well. Let me tell these old guys something. I'm not going to tell you guys to roll up on them young guys just like that. But if you were a defensive fighter and you got defense, you got your defense right, you can roll up on them young guys. You may win, you might win the fights, but you got defense. You ain't gonna get knocked out. And that's the key. That's what made Archie Moore. Archie Moore fought till he was 45. Okay, got defense. Okay, Ezra Charles fought till he was 39, and so on and so on and so on. Guys fought. Roberto Duran fought till he was 50. He was tough, a tough motherfucker too. But defense helps you to carry on your career even longer, and you're gonna take punishment because you're gonna take punishment. You're gonna get hit on your arms, your hands. You're still gonna take punishment. But at the end of the day, if you got proper defense, you could fight till God knows how long. Saul Mambe fought till he was what, 60? You can fight. You can fight as long as you want. You just have to have that defense and make sure the defense is on point. And then we work from there. Your footwork is on point. You don't have to be making all these big set of moves. You might be slower than the other guy. You got your timing. You got your defense. You can keep on going in boxing. These guys can keep on going in boxing. That's what a lot of people don't understand. That's why I keep on talking about defense all the time. Defense is very important. You can be competitive for a very long time in boxing once your body can hold together. And you do the right therapies and you do the right things to your body after fights. Okay? And you try to restrict yourself from injury, but if you get injury, you know what the right procedures to deal with that, and you treat your body right, you could fight, God knows, until your coordination in your body can't do it no more. Right? So this is what this new generation of people are realizing. And the older heads, they can fight the older heads, guys that they didn't face. So like Oscar De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. It's a challenge. I don't know if Felix is up for it, but it will make Felix healthier person because he's going to have to eat healthier. And if it's an exhibition fight, there's really no weight mass for exhibitions. It's not a heavyweight fight or anything. Roy Jones Jr. can come in whatever weight he wants. Mike Tyson can come in whatever weight he wants. So that's the nice thing about exhibitions. They're not specific to a weight class. So you just wanted to face this guy. You wanted to face him all your life. Go in the exhibition, you face him. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm not mad at exhibitions. They're not, generally speaking, exhibitions are not as intense as actual fights. But just because it's called an exhibition doesn't mean it. All it means when you say exhibition fight, because we know, Joe Louis knocked out a guy in an exhibition. People get knocked out in exhibitions, okay? If you're not on point, you're going to get knocked out. Or if you're too small, you get knocked out, okay? But if you are an older fighter, I always talk about this, and it never made sense to me. If you're an older fighter, yeah, your reflexes are slower. No doubt about that. But your knowledge is high. So if you realize that you don't throw punches as quickly as you used to, and you don't have the reflexes that you used to, you get your fundamentals down really packed to cater for that. You get your timing down packed to cater for that. If you have to defend yourself and you're 80 something years old, 90 something years old, okay? And you're a martial artist, all right? You're going to take out a guy that don't really know what he's doing, or even if the guy knows something about what he's doing, you will take that guy out. Why? Because it's not about your reflexes so much. It's not so much, it's about what you know. Okay? And those guys, by now, they know the game really, really well. Right? So it wouldn't be surprising if Mike Tyson or Roy Jones Jr. get knocked out in that fight. It wouldn't be surprising. It wouldn't be surprising if one of them got knocked out too. But it won't be surprising. All right? So that's all it is. And Mike Tyson's pushing himself. He's not concerned about Roy. He's pushing himself. This is for himself. And Roy's pushing himself because this is a desire he always wanted. I want to see that. I want to see two guys who are ancient when it comes to sports, but not too old, middle-aged guys, go at it. And if they can still do it, why not? Okay. Yes, you can have worse brain injury from getting absorbed punishment in those kinds of fights. But if it's not a long, grueling, rough, tough thing, and you just get knocked out in what with one shot, you mightn't be as badly damaged as another guy who was constantly getting the rattling. But it is risky, and you can die. That's just what it is. But those guys are professionals, and so they will know how to maneuver their way across things. Anyway, let me just call it a day there with you guys. I'm what you need. Peace.